Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino here, and we've got a good one here today because I'm here with the winner of Survivor 44. Here is Yam Yam Arocho. Yam Yam, how are you?
How you doing, Rob? So good to be here. I'm so excited. I finally get to talk to you. Thank you for coming to Puerto Rico.
Yes, finally, I'm here. So nice. But Yam Yam, this is a real thrill to get the chance to catch up with you. It's been too long, and I'm very excited to get the chance to hear a little bit more about your Survivor experience today.
Yes, I'm ready for it. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Let's start.
Okay. And we are under a little bit of a time constraint and we're going to do our best to bring you a power hour here with Jam Jam. How's everything been since the season, Jam Jam?
It's been a blast, like getting the love from people. People are like being like reaching out, like saying how amazing they think I played, which is really cool to hear. And being able to do my own stuff back again, because I have a business in Puerto Rico. I have a family. I have stuff to do. But trying to balance a little bit of the life and everybody all the love I'm getting. So I'm really, really, really happy with the experience and I can't complain.
Okay. Are a lot of people coming in for appointments now that you're the winner of Survivor?
I'm be getting a few appointments with my staff. So that's really exciting. A lot more people just come into the door and start screaming, which is like scary for the clients that don't know what I was doing. And they were like, what's going on? And I have to explain everybody what Survivor is. But yeah, it's really energizing. It's really cool to feel the love. And people are texting me, DMing me to come in. And if you're in Puerto Rico, come to the salon and say hi, of course.
What surprised you the most about how the experience ultimately went for you versus how you thought it was going to go?
So after the game was over, I had a pretty good idea that the story was basically gonna be the Three Stooges, right? Because of the result, or because of our story and what would happen. And I was really hoping that was gonna get highlighted. I was really impressed. I got as much time on the air and the edit, and there were many things that they could have shown that made me show me a little bit more of a mean guy that they show, but I was really happy that they highlighted all my funny sides. Yeah.
Because you said in the preseason, I went back and I was watching what you were saying going into the game, and they said Mike Bloom had asked the question about who you're going to play like, and you said Suri was going to be the person that you play, and I kind of feel like that was like a pretty good call by you.
I freaking love Sari. I've been this close of meeting Sari like twice, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
crying in my car on the way to the event, and then she can't make it. So Sari, we have to meet each other. But I told Jeff when I was in my interview at the beginning in the audition process, I said like I want to play like Sari, but I want to win.
Mm-hmm.
No risk, like not anything against Sari because she's an amazing person, but everybody knows how Sari plays now. So she's a mastermind and she's like a social player. Like she's very well connected with people that she doesn't feel like a threat, but she knows what she's doing, and that was very much the game I wanted to emulate because I understood that was who I was as a person, and that's what I do in life. So I relate to her, so I thought I could play with her as well.
Okay, well, let's get into talking about your time on Survivor because that's what we're here to do today. And so you are part of like this really iconic, legendary alliance, which with you and Carson and Carolyn back at Tika. That did you know like early on that this was such a special group that you were a part of?
Well, the thing is, like, it's like Carolyn says, it's like, who the hell decided to put Carolyn and me together on the
Mm-hmm.
same, tribe? So even the two of us interaction on the boat coming in, I knew it was like a weird kind of people working together. And the fact that I got to connect with Carson very early on the game and like talk strategy as like to be together. Like when we would we went to try to the male tree to get the big flag, we connected to each other and we talk about his heritage of like having Dominican cousins and me being from Puerto Rico, Caribbean, and all that Spanish culture. And when we connected with Carolyn, we were able, and I knew that the fact that we were so different from everybody else that was connecting was gonna be well received, or like interesting to watch if we were able to do what we did. But back day 3, of course, like you're only making an hypothesis of what's going to happen, and then it just happened to happen. But we were fun. We had a lot of fun. People like were not expecting us to do the stuff we did, and just play with our hearts and be smart about it, but in a way that people did not expect it. So yeah.
Do you have any specific memories from your time, like in the beginning of the game when you were first getting going?
Any specific memories of the game?
Yeah,
Like
like
are
fun
important to
times.
me?
Yeah.
Fun times. Oh my god! Anything that Carolyn and I would do, what would be fun. I do remember like vividly, like Carolyn wanted to put palm from curtains on the shelter. She wanted
Yeah.
curtains on a shelter,
For
and I
privacy or to cut down the wind?
because she was bored.
Yeah.
Because she was bored. So I'm a hoarder. I'm like, I collect a lot of Survivor stuff. So when we got the hammer and the nails and we were not building anything with it, I put all the nails in my bag because I wanted to take them home. And then she wanted to do palm fronts on the shelter. I was like, there goes 6 nails from my collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped her do palm fronts. And I remember Josh watching her like going like, what is she doing? Like doing eyes on her. And I was like, yeah, Josh, just keep rolling your eyes at Carolyn. That's all I want. So she like, sticks with me.
Yeah. Did she catch that he was rolling her
Yeah.
eyes?
She was like, he's annoying. I'm doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. I was like, yeah, girl, how many curtains do you want? How high do you want that? You want together or you want separate?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew she wanted to do that. So anything that Carolyn wanted to do, I thought it was fun. So I would just go along with it because there's not a lot of stuff we can do there.
Okay, you said you're a hoarder. You're trying to take the nails from the construction kit. What did you end up getting away with?
I have the Tika map.
Yeah.
I have the envelope that says your decision has been made for you, the one with the puzzle.
Yeah.
I have fishing gear, I have nails, I have the purple paint, I have brushes, I have the corks from the breakfast, I have a lot of tree mail. At the merch, if you want an immunity idol, you will get the tree mail. So I have that tree mail for the last gasp. And I have on my bag, my clothes, my water bottle, and the piece of resistance. I have my shot in the dark. Boop.
Oh, okay. What are you gonna make a museum? What are you gonna do with all that stuff?
I love Survivor, but my husband hates the decoration of Survivor. So he told me like 2 years ago before I even applied, I was like, you can put your Survivor stuff in the living room.
Oh.
And then when I went there, I was like, I'm going to come back with a big suitcase of stuff.
Yeah.
Of Survivor. So you got to be ready when I put it up. I have stuff from your season when you painted your face with Jenna and Matt. I have that diagram.
I've never seen that before. Yeah. You showed me a picture of it. That's incredible. So Jam, did your husband keep his promise? Is all of your Survivor stuff in the living room?
Nothing. I even took the big flag I have from Vanuatu that says I'll play at last, that I used with Jeff's on my audition. And I moved it to my salon for activity, and he told me he didn't want it back at the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I actually have less stuff on display.
I get it. Okay. So just tell me about from like your standpoint in terms of like getting your strategy together. How did things start to come together in terms of the group that you were working with to start the game?
So the peculiar thing, and maybe how my winning went, how I won and how I played, was that it was very organic in terms of like every day was a new challenge. Like I never designed a plan of how I wanted to play the whole 26 days. So starting from when Bruce left, like my plan was like, I'm never going to be able to connect with Sarah, Helen, and Carson because of the age, because of their background. I'm going to have to do Bruce, and the fact that Bruce going out, I had to start like changing my strategy, and it was like always survive the boat. And I thought I had a good thing going on, and when Josh came along and Carolyn betrayed me with the Sarah vote, I honestly thought it was me. So I had to really start like getting information. And if that hadn't happened to me, like that wake up call of, you don't have this in the bag, people are telling you you're your friend, but they're not together, they're here to play for themselves, that's when it clicked. You need to also do this for yourself, And I didn't trust Carolyn. So I went into the merge, and Carson being with new friends that were not me, Carson told me, do your thing. You can do it. like figure it out. And I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I scrambled because they were safe in the non-merge and I wasn't safe. So I started connecting with all the girls. Um, I've always been, always all my life, you see my contact list is all girls. Like I always have hang out with girls and my salon with girls. So when I got into the non-marriage and all these girls have been voted off, I went to the ones there and I was like, Jamie, I heard you wanted to do an all girls alliance. Like, let's do something together. And the fact that I just opened the conversation, maybe it's not the way it happened because there was definitely not an all girls alliance, but I let them know that I was available for them and I let them know that I was willing to work with everyone and connect with everyone. And I just was trying to be part of every single conversation and be a number to them when I knew that they were telling me what they want to do because they wanted me to vote with them. So we were getting our information. Carson was getting information and I was getting information in another way.
How big of a deal was it for you to have been on the bottom for so long in the beginning of the game? Because I feel like it really did, help, while on the outside it looked like it hurt you, I feel like that it put you in that sort of mindset of that you have to really, do or die.
Exactly. No, yeah. The fact that I was in danger, I had less to lose than everybody else. So it allowed me the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive in connecting with people and not being comfortable in not talking to people, but also being in danger enough that I had to do actively connecting with people, if that answers what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
you ask, not what I'm saying, because I don't say what I'm saying, not what you're asking.
You're saying it. You're saying it because it was such a big vote where it turned out where that Carolyn ends up working with Josh after Carson gets transferred away, and you have that like little mini swap, and that really did like completely change the trajectory of the game. Could you just talk through that vote from your standpoint?
Before that vote happened that morning that Josh is at camp, Sarah and I woke up very early and we were talking about how had to keep Tika together because I actually felt really comfortable with Sarah, right? And we sat down then with Carolyn, not knowing that Josh was telling Carolyn, oh, they're talking without you. And we all agreed that we were going to lie to Josh and tell Josh, Sarah and I, that we wanted Carolyn out, and Carolyn would tell Josh they want me out. Yes, everybody says, why are you putting somebody else's name as a target? Then that person needs to protect themselves. But that person was also part of the plan, you
Mm-hmm.
know? We were like, it's more obvious and more easy to convince some new guy that we don't want you, Carolyn, because of your performances at challenges, as that's what everybody's seen. And she was a big part of it. What I was not paying attention was that Sarah and Carolyn did not get along. Not in terms of like human beings, but players. No?
Yeah.
So Carolyn knew and was very aware that Carson and I really like Sarah. So had we continued with Sarah in the game, then we could have at some point jumped the ship because Sarah was maybe a little bit more in her eyes. Not that it
Mm-hmm.
ever happened. Another option. And she took away that option by herself. And she could do it because she has an idol. So she did that big move because she has something that protected her afterwards. I don't know if she didn't have the idol, she would have made that move because she would have wanted my friendship and my trust. But the fact that she had the idol, it was a lot more powerful than my number, maybe.
Did you think that there was a chance Carolyn had the idol, or did you think that
I
Helen went
always
home with
thought
the
she had the
idol?
idol.
Yeah.
If you go back to every single episode, even when we're doing the idol search, I go to her. Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you really
Mm-hmm.
have it? Do you really have it? Do you have it? Because there was something about Carolyn's face that changed. And even when we were doing Helen, she grabbed my face like this and she goes
Mm-hmm.
like, are you sure it's Helen? Are you sure it's Helen? I was like, yeah, it's Helen. And then she did the same thing to me when she used the idol on Carson. I was like, this is the same Carolyn. She has something. And I would always tell in my interviews, I was like, if somebody has it, it's Carolyn. There's no other people that can have it. And I also, because I would interview constantly on like, who do you think is that, or what do you think is that? I was like, there can be 1,000 idols on this island. None of them are gonna be used against me. I was so sure that people didn't see me as a target, as a threat, that they were not gonna use it against me. Like everybody there, not in the merge, needed me for something,
Hmm.
so they were not gonna like take me out.
See, that's interesting because I feel like that you came across as such a big target, especially at the early part of the merge.
Because I was the one with no friends.
Yes. But nobody was going to use an idol, you're saying. Like, they wouldn't waste that kind of ammo to take out you at that point.
Exactly. No, 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 because it makes no sense. Because if people wanted me out, they were gonna get people together to get me out. I was
Hmm.
never seen. Maybe Danny would say or Kane would say that they wanted me out, but if they didn't have the support of other people, they were not gonna go out of their way to get me out.
Hmm. When you have the tribal council where ultimately Sarah gets voted out, and there's all the talk about by Felicia, and it seems like, you're talking about, okay, there's somebody that's not fitting in. How much of that tribal council dialogue was sort of like scripted? Like, how much of that was a play?
The whole thing, except me saying I'm Felicia, or by Felicia, was acted like we sat on the boat with Carolyn and I, and we said like we need to make Josh comfortable,
Yeah.
and we need to fight a tribal because we already did it with Helen. We had a little fight at tribal, and this was something we did. We would fight on purpose. And this is when she's saying, like, I guess I'm Felicia. I look at her and I'm like, are you serious? And I actually went to her ear and I said, like, girl, we're acting. And
Yeah.
she was like, oh, I guess I don't know if you are. Maybe you're saying something that's true. Because she was such at that point thinking that we might take her out before Sarah, that en serio. Sorry. This is crazy. Are you there, guys? I'm sorry.
We're here. We're here. We'll cut this.
I just put it in not disturb. I don't know why that happened. I'm sorry.
Don't sweat it.
So we sat down at the boat and we thought about it, right? And we were like gonna act it out, but the way Carolyn thinks at that point was like, they're not with me, they're not with me, they're not with me, they're not with me, they're not with me. So everything that I said that was an act to make Josh comfortable, and yes, I was saying I want Carolyn out in my acting,
Hmm.
she took it as truth.
So at the vote, when you have where Sarah is going to go home and you and Carolyn are going back and forth at tribal council, and you say to her, bye, Felicia, and you talk about like that, there's a new kid and you don't want to talk to your old friends.
Yeah.
How much of that was stuff that you had rehearsed ahead of time, and how much of that was all happening for real?
Well, the dialogue was improvisation, Rob.
Hmm.
But the fight, that the concept that there was gonna be a fight was planned, and Carolyn and I talk about like we making Josh like comfortable enough that we were just like we're gonna be bickering with each other, right? So I have Carolyn there, and I'm trying to do like this, analogy, metaphor about going on with the new kid and everything, and then I'm throwing her under the bus on purpose. But then she switched, like it's me being seriously, and I look at her and I was like, "Girl, are you for real thinking I'm being serious?" Like on her ear, and I was like, "I guess you are, because that's what you're saying." I was like, "It's we acted this. We told each other that it was gonna
Right.
happen," but in her head she had this thing of we wanting Sarah more than her. So that's all she was hearing. She wasn't not hearing me be like acting because we wanted Josh to be comfortable and not play something he might have, but she just heard me saying that I didn't want her.
Did you all also do this at the vote where Jamie went home, when it seemed like that there was like a lot of things that could have had like double meaning?
Yeah. So yeah, when I say with the hair, with the head and the heart, in confessional, at tribal, at around the fire with Jamie, I was actually talking to both of them without knowing what I was going to do. So I did not tell Carolyn I was gonna be acting out something to make Jamie feel comfortable, but I was using the dialogue to talk about both of them. The way they
Mm-hmm.
cut it, they made it look like I was only crying because of Carolyn, but I was also crying because of Jamie.
Yeah. Did you all ever do this at any times that weren't at tribal council where you sort of like would act out like an argument?
We tried to like be, as soon as we hit that beach, we knew we could not be together. And the
Yeah.
thing is, like, Carolyn and I bicker each other, and it's real. We are bickering, but we also know that it's something we can get over it, you know? But we use that thing of people like saying, no, the two of them are not getting along, they're not talking, like on purpose. Um, it was very different how I talk with Carolyn than how I talk with Carson, but it's the same with Carolyn and Carson and Carolyn and Carson and me, you know? Like the way we talk to Carson, we were a little bit more level headed. When we talked to each other, we were a little bit more crazy, even though we were going to do stuff together.
So after that vote where Sarah goes home, I thought that you played this very, very well when you are, at the same time, trying to smooth things over with Carolyn. But also, it seemed like that you were, making some good pitches to Josh as well. Did that come close to happening at all where you could have potentially worked with Josh and gotten Carolyn out?
We will never know.
Yes.
We will never
And
know.
she, of course, she had her
Everybody,
idol. Yeah.
everybody, Josh can say what he wants to say. Carolyn can say what you want to say, but I'm gonna keep it real. Nobody knows what was gonna happen. We didn't know she had an idol.
Mm-hmm.
This is without us knowing she had an idol. She
Yeah.
probably would have played her idol, because when Carolyn and I, when she comes after the lunch to talk to us, right? Um, we go to the side, right, and we're talking to them. They showed us the two of us getting together, and I tell her, I don't trust you, I don't trust you, I don't trust you, you already like betray me. And I was like, I'm only gonna trust you if you give me your shot in the dark, and I give you your shot in the dark bar back when when I survived the shot, the vote. And she was like, I don't care about that shot in the dark, that's nothing, whatever, you can have it. Now, me
Mm-hmm.
knowing that she had an idol, of course she was gonna give me her shot in the dark, because she has something way more powerful.
Yeah.
So I had her shot in the dark when Jeff comes to tribal, to our little beach, and do like that little
Yep.
impromptu tribal. And as soon as Jeff left, I gave her her shot in the dark bark, because that was my promise. Um, so I did have that kind of trust in her, and I was like, well, if she gave it to me, and the way she's talking to me, I think I can go, and work with her. But really, what I wanted it to happen, and this is something that I asked Jeff, but I never got an answer because it never happened, was what happens if there's a three-way tie? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I questioned this twice. I want to know what happens if I vote for Carolyn, Carolyn votes for Josh, and Josh votes for me.
Yeah.
Like,
And
is there
nobody
gonna
plays
be a
an
fire
idol.
making challenge? Is there gonna be drawing rocks? Like, I was honestly very confident on my fire, and I was like, if they tell me it's fire, maybe I want to do a three-way tie. But we're never gonna know. When I came back, I called Josh, and I was like, Josh, were you really gonna vote with me to vote Carolyn out? I was like, yes, damn. And Carolyn told me she was gonna work with me to vote Josh out, but I don't trust them. I don't trust.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because it's been months. Nobody can say what they were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. There's no way. I think I probably, had we gone to tribal, I would have tried to make a three-way tie. And me making a three-way tie
Wow.
was me probably voting for it's weird. It's weird. I would need like a whiteboard and tell you why I was thinking. It would
That
take me
would be
like 30 minutes.
fascinating to talk through, and it would be, a great moment because I don't think they're set up to do three people fire
That's why they
making, but I
didn't have
guess
an answer. That's why they didn't have an answer. And I
but
asked twice.
they could set it up. They could they could get it going before the time they get on the walkie-talkie and get it
No,
set up.
they
Be
didn't.
exciting.
They didn't. I asked. You guys need to tell me what happens if there's a three-way tie. And they was like, ask me again later. And I asked again, and they didn't have an answer.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Food for thought for, many more off-season discussions. So, the one person that it seemed like that you had, your ups and downs with in the game was Josh. Now, I'm happy to hear that you all are talking after the game, but it just seemed like that that was the one person that your charms just did not seem to work with in the entire game.
Oh my God, it's so weird, right? You would think like the two BIPOC queer guys married would get along, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess the island is too tiny for both of us. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I heard that as soon as we made merge, I heard that Matthew wanted me out. I wasn't there to do it, but I was like, what's going on with the three of us?
Yeah, everybody's voting for each other in that
I
three-person group. Yeah.
mean,
But
I don't
it's
know. You know,
so
here's the thing.
interesting.
Here's the thing. Josh had many, 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 many secrets because he thought he needed. Like he didn't say he was a doctor, and as soon as he hit the beach, I was like, on his business that he was a doctor, a surgeon, or whatever. He had this the scar in the stomach, and I would question it about it. I would question like he said he was a trainer, and then he was like explaining his job, and then he would say like, and then on the weekends, I was like, what do you do with your husband? I was like, oh, we go to the gym, and I was like, so you go to the gym 7 days a week, and that kind of tension did not allow us to connect.
Yeah. Do you ever think about what would have happened if Matthew didn't get removed from the game?
Well, from what I've heard that Soka wanted to. They had Josh as a target, and that's why it happened at the merge. And from what I understand, there were people that Matthew was not working with many people at RHAP, so he was probably least connected as well. But again, it's like that three-way vote.
Yeah.
Give me a whiteboard and 2 hours, and we can say how it might have played out.
Sure. Okay. So when you all get to the merge, that people are looking at you as potentially like an easy vote, and especially that you're on the wrong side of the mergatory and people are looking at you. What are some things that you did to make sure it wasn't going to be you at that first vote at the merge?
So the first thing I did and I regretted was right away saying that Josh should be the target, right? Because when we split, on the top was Heidi, Lauren, and Josh, and I think Josh was walking on a walk.
Yeah.
And on the beach, it was Danny, Kane, and I. And I'm with Danny and Kane, and I'm questioning them like what we're gonna do. And I say to them, I know it's not gonna be Heidi and Lauren because I thought like Lauren was with Kane, Heidi was with Danny, so of course. And Kane goes, well, if you have the votes, then I'll vote with you. But if you don't have the votes, then I'm gonna have to vote you out. Yeah. I was like, Kane, this is too early for you to tell me to my face that you're gonna vote me out. So the only thing, none of them were like spilling anything. So the only thing I could do was cement my relationship with the people that had won the merge. And everybody was like, we're waiting for the winners to come back. And as soon as Franny and Matt came back, Franny opened her eyes like at me, like really big. And we were at camp because it was raining. And she was like, you're safe. So as soon as she connected with me like that, because when we were at the challenges, she would always smile at me. And I pulled her to the side and they gave me the confidence that I was working with them. Then Carson guarantees it, like Carolyn says it. And my only thing was like being aware, like what did I do to cement that happened and not me, was that I was being aware of how people were walking with each other. And this is why I was like I tried to connect with people and see their interactions with everybody, how they talk to me, because it was going to be Josh first option, Kane second option, and me third option. And as soon as I saw people scrambling and changing their votes, and Kane was the one pulling them one by one outside of camp, I was like, I need to do a little roundabout and ask everybody again. So I went again with Heidi, and I talked to Heidi, and I went to Franny again, and to Matt again, and to Carson again, and started talking to everybody again right before we left. And this is when Josh and I like talked to each other and we crossed hands, and I said, I thought you were gonna kiss me.
Yeah.
That was one of those conversations, because I was so afraid that Kane had been the one that changed the votes. But it didn't happen.
Were you worried that Carson had flipped away from you and Carolyn?
Not really. the way I saw Carson's playing the game, I knew he wanted to have as many numbers as possible, and he always had this confidence about him that he has us in his pocket. But I
Hmm.
also had that confidence that I had him in my pocket, so it was very mutual. And I knew there was the way Carolyn, Carson, and I understood each other. Yes, it was a game, but it was more personal, and that translates to real life right now. It's still like that.
When it's the vote between you and Matt at that tribal council, I almost felt like that was kind of like a mini final tribal council for you, where you were like having to like pitch yourself and why you were worthy and your journey. Like, did you feel at all like that was the case?
The way Jeff leads tribal,
Yes.
he sure makes you feel like your last day there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Matt was so emotional and so real and raw about the way he talked. Oh my god, I love Matt. Um, that I was like, wait, that could be also me, and it makes you think about what it means to be there. And by that
Mm-hmm.
fact, like you have this little piece of mind that you made the jury by that point, like just a little itsy bitsy piece
Yeah.
of mine. But no, I wanted to go hard. And what always benefited me was that I was always listening what other people were saying, and I would try to twist in my favor their argument.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything that he said was good for him, I then right away and say, and everything that he said is good for him, that's why he's bad for you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Yeah.
was very aggressive at tribal when I needed to be.
Yeah. And at that tribal council, you referred to yourself, you said that, I'm a teddy bear, but I'm also a badass. And I feel like
Yeah.
that was like such a great way to present your game to the people who are ultimately, I mean, the whole jury is there at that point.
Yeah. It's something that, because that's at that moment, at that point, I, and this is why I say like the fact that I was in danger so many times made me a good player in the second half of the game, because I was always very uncomfortable. So I needed to be very aware. So that part of me being a badass was like, yeah, I'm here to have fun. Yeah, this is my dream. This is something I wanted to do my whole life since I'm 13. But I need to turn it on, and I need to win because I'm already halfway point. Like I just want to go to the end, and that's why I switched, because out of everybody there, I was in danger since the Sarah tribal all the way till I got my necklace. Like
Hmm.
nobody else had been in danger as much as me.
And this is when they made the big mistake, right?
Yeah.
They should have voted you out that night, because then once they let you get back to the tribe, it was over for Soka and Ratu, because now you all are going to go to work and you're working on pitting Soka and Ratu against each other.
Exactly. I go back and I have my Tika because I always had them, thank God. And I come back to the Baba Beach, which I name Hello, um, with Ratu with me. Like Ratu was like, oh, Carson and Yam Yam are with us. We're protecting them. Ooh, you know. But we were using the shell like a Trojan horse. Like we were inside of them, and then we were gonna explode and kill them all. Um, and then because I had Heidi and Heidi felt uncomfortable, or maybe like not uncomfortable with the way she portrayed and the way she connected with me, because she used that vote against me, and because we're Puerto Rican and we had that little secret that we were both Puerto Rican, um, we were able to. She wanted to me feel comfortable, so she gave me a lot of information with the Danny Idol and other stuff that I was in both. I was in every tribe, like I was part of every alliance in there.
How many different relationships did you have that was similar to what you had with Heidi, where, okay, we're close, but let's not let people know how close we are?
I feel like the thing, even with Carolyn, like people they were like they're not gonna work together because they hate each other until the end that they figure it out. But Heidi was with that. I had a close relationship with Jamie. That it was obvious we get along, but it was not obvious we were working together.
Hmm.
So I would say the three of them. would be the most thing. Also, Carson and I would not talk in front of everybody together. Like we would always do it aside, and it was very fast. Carson and I did not need to give each other a lot of um, prime time. How you say that? Like quality time to
Mm-hmm.
understand that we were on the same page. Like we could do like boom, 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 and then do one thing.
But I mean, it's pretty good that 4 people out of the final 6, and also like not including yourself, like were people that you had like kind of like hidden relationships with.
Exactly. No,
Pretty good.
I feel like we haven't gotten there yet, but the fact that the only person I feel like I didn't connect it deep into the game, other than Kane, because Kane was out like relatively early. I feel like Danny and I never got to talk game together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was always through Carson or through Heidi.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like he gave Heidi a vote, because he didn't see the value in my game because I never shared that side of me with him.
Well, talk to me about when Brandon went home, because you are the person that you had like the most information about what was going on in terms of idols that were going to get played and who was going to do what. And you made, very specific decisions during that round. So can you just talk a little bit about how you were looking at the vote where Brandon goes home because Danny played his idol to save Franny?
We come back from Matt's vote, and it's like somebody needs to go out. Franny won immunity, I think, at that point, or was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Um,
She didn't win immunity because she was. They were voting for her. So
Lauren
Lauren
won
won the
immunity.
immunity. Yes.
Lauren won immunity. Um, and Heidi wanted Tika. That she wanted to convince us to be with her, right? So she feels like, how can I convince them? And this is why I think was at fault. I was like, she told us that Danny had an idol. And yes, Danny had approached Carson and told him himself because he wanted Carson for himself, but also Heidi wanted me for herself. And when we meet at the water well, this is a prime opportunity to take somebody from the big group without ours getting blood in it. And then Heidi goes like, so guys, just do this. You're gonna vote for Franny, you're gonna vote for Brandon, and we're gonna save Franny. And I was like, well, if you're gonna do that, then you don't need my vote. Let's
Mm-hmm.
do something. We vote Franny out, and you use your idol and you protect Franny, and then if that happens, like you're saying it, we will work with you. And Carson goes to me and Carolyn, and he goes like, you guys need to vote for Brandon, and I'll vote for Franny. And I'm like, do you think I was born yesterday like you, Carson?
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not. I'm gonna vote for Franny if Carolyn wants to vote for Brandon, and because Carson told her, yeah, that's what she did. But I was like, I don't need to like get blood in my hands after RHAP who thinks I'm with them after what we went through at the Soca Beach.
Yeah.
So I go to Jamie and Lauren, which were my closest connection there, and I said to them at the water well, guys, I'm gonna vote for Franny, and so you know I'm still with you. I'm gonna put a check mark next to my vote, and I feel like we have enough vote to split the votes, but you guys need to figure that out by themselves because I don't want them watching me with you. And they were like, okay, we'll figure it out. So I give them the information of split the vote, but you have to figure it out by themselves. And I'm gonna vote for Franny and put a check mark on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk away and I let everything explode on them. When we come back, my check mark is next to Franny. And they're like, oh, Jam, we should have done what you said, blah, blah, blah. Brandon didn't want to do it. And I come out safe, still with both teams back, like they still love
Yeah.
me.
Now, the thing that I never got was that for like Heidi and Danny, like, did they come back to you and say like, "Hey, how come you didn't vote with us? We
I
told
told
you."
them I wasn't going to do it. I told
Mm-hmm.
Heidi, I'm gonna vote Franny out because this is your way of getting me to work with you because you voted for me with the control the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like the two sides, like they had enough information to say, like, "Hey, like you think he's with you? He's with
No,
us."
he's with nobody. He's with Jam Jam. He's with Jam Jam.
Yeah. And they never did. They never. The two sides never talked about the people that were in the middle, where I feel like that they could have, but they were sticking to it. So all right. So and then you got basically like two times that you got to get away with screwing over Ratu, because you do it on the Brandon vote, and then you do it for real on the Kane vote.
Yes. And they still think I was with them.
How?
Because they had no other options. They hated each other so much.
Yeah.
They hated each other so much. And the fact is, remember, like, the next vote is the one that Franny votes. You know, Franny goes out, right? Because of the family dinner and the taco dinner. And this is something I talked with Franny about. I was joking. And she was like, what I was supposed to do? And I was like, not win?
Mm-hmm.
You were winning too much.
Yeah.
But she's amazing. I want to see her play again. And why did Ratu stay with me? Ratu being Lauren and Jamie. They were by themselves.
Yeah.
Who else were they gonna go with?
Mm-hmm.
They were already a friend of mine, and the next vote, I'm voting with them, and the next vote, I'm voting with them again. So of course they thought I was with them.
Yeah. Why did you want to vote out Franny and work with Danny to take Franny out when she went home? That she gave you a look. She wanted to work with you. She was giving you information.
God, she's such a sweetheart. I felt so bad. She was such a juicy target. Who do you do the same? Who do you think over there, other than your people in my alliance, Carson and Carolyn, was a better target than Franny at that point?
I'd have to look at.
Danny wasn't winning anything. Like, we figured that out.
You were worried about Danny. Franny is winning so much, and Carolyn had been working with her, and it seemed like
Carson
you and
was with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought that she was the biggest. And the thing is, like, Carson said something very important to me, and this is something I realized with the Kane vote. Kane is getting very close to Carson. Like, I'm getting a lot of information of Ratu through Carson because of Kane. Mm-hmm. So, and then Carson brings it up with Franny, and he goes like, Carolyn is getting too close to Franny. So it was the fact that we needed to cut the options of everybody, and this is something that Kane talked about. Like, you need, like, he couldn't vote me out because I had connections with people from their team. So when that happened to my team, we were cutting their options,
Mm-hmm. Okay. We get the big vote where Danny ends up going home, but Carolyn ends up playing her idol to save Carson at that vote. It was unclear on the episode, you did not know that was going to happen, but you had suspected that Carolyn had the idol.
I win immunity necklace, last gasp. We come back, and it's
incredible job winning the immunity.
I like torture, Rob. I like torture. I was swallowing water. People say, like, how you did it? I was swallowing the water so I could breathe.
Yeah.
So that's tip for the next people.
Okay.
So I come back. Ratu is to here, to Soka, and the three of us are in the middle. And I go like, guys, this is their opportunity. They're only their last opportunity to break us apart. They're not going to go after me because I have a necklace. They're not going to go after Carolyn because they don't think she's a threat.
But they were talking about going after you before you won immunity. Was that for real? Do you think
I didn't know that. I asked them after the episode came back. I was like, how much of that conversation was going on?
Yeah.
And they told me ask Franny, but I never asked her.
Oh.
So apparently it was more something that Carolyn, like, Franny was the one pushing for it.
Okay. But so you made a good move to get rid of her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
But if you don't win the last gasp, that
it was probably, 4. I don't think they would have gone for me because it was gonna be the three of us and Ratu together.
Yeah.
Going after Danny. The thing is that I tell Carson is like I felt, I don't know if it was a joke or like not a joke, like an act, but he felt like a little defeated at the fire, like when we were at camp. And I go to him and we're by ourselves and I go, what are we gonna do, Carson? Like, you need to like move. And he goes like, well, if it's me, it's me. And I'm like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And And I don't know if it was an act. I don't think Carolyn had told him at that point he had an idol. She had an idol was gonna play for him. And this is when I go to Carolyn and I say to Carolyn, where we play bowling on the little alley, and I go, Carolyn, if you have an idol, this is the moment you play an idol on Carson. This is what guarantees us the thing. Of course, at tribal council at the end, I tell her she didn't want to use it. She didn't need to use it and all of that. But that was I was also talking about Heidi's idol, but they didn't
Yeah.
show that part. So that's why, like, that did make a lot of sense of me saying I told her to play it and then me telling her at the final tribal council not to play it.
Okay. And for you, also, if Carolyn has an idol, is it good? Do you want to see Carolyn's idol get flush potentially at the final 7?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Right?
Yeah. Carolyn is very intense in her ways. So I could see Carolyn doing something crazy with it later had she still got in it. Like she
Mhm.
would have figured to do something out, something fun, like
Yeah.
what happened with Sarah and Josh.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit about this when we spoke after you won the game, but you talk a lot about, like, in the last couple of votes, about wanting to vote out Carolyn. And how serious was that for you to break up the Tika 3 before you all got to the final 4?
The thing is, like, the perception of Carolyn during the game that I had was a very different Carolyn that the other players were seeing. Because Carolyn and I would talk about game at Tika, and I would see how she flipped back and forth and she turned on and off this persona of, like, fun, emotional Carolyn, and then really like strategic Carolyn, like what she did with Sarah, that nobody saw it but me. Um, so I was really afraid that at the end, at the tribal council at the end, she was gonna, like, really say, "Dear jury,
Yeah.
I'm a doctor of whatever,
Podiatry. Yeah.
and this is all been an act, and this is why." Like, I
Mhm.
really was like, oh my god, she's just gonna, like, reveal herself like the Scooby Doo monster and say this is the real me. But that's not what happened. Like, she was so exhausted at the final tribal council. That's not what happened. But I could see her, like, turning it on. But and she was also with me the whole game. Like, the only person you could compare my game to, I thought, in reality, was with her, because
Mhm.
Carson wasn't with us with, like, with what, 5 days or something, and 5 days nowadays is like a lot. So I honestly thought, like, I need to get rid of her because she's gonna, like, destroy my game at the end. But nobody wanted her out.
Mhm.
But it was just an option. Like, they make it like they
Yeah.
ask you, what do you think about Carson? What do you think about Jamie? What do you think about Heidi? What do you think about Carolyn? And that's what I thought about Carolyn.
Yeah. Your final tribal council performance was really great. Did you spend a lot of time, like, planning out what you were going to say to the jury?
Half the stuff I say, Rob, I don't even remember I say.
Mhm.
But when Heidi won her fire making challenge, it was so impressive. Not only what she did, but the reaction of the jury was, like, exploded. Like, it was like a baseball game, like a home run. Like, it was crazy. That I didn't sleep, and I went back to camp and I started thinking about where I was in every vote, what conversations I had with everyone, why I said what I said, why I did what I did, how I did it. And I was very, 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 very conscious about the stuff that I was gonna say to them. When the opportunity of the emotion question comes up, that's where I grasp the opportunity of telling them how I normally interact with people, which is something I always done in my life.
Yeah.
Is not something that I learned on a book or 3D printed. But it is something that it's an instinct.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that instinct and I use it constantly. But not for evil. This is the stuff
Sure.
I don't want to come across with. And I think I said that too on the final tribal council. It's just something that I love jokes. I love having fun. And I'm a heavy joker. Like, I go strong on jokes. And I need to read the room. So I use that superpower to call it to understand if it's landing or not landing. So I also use that for other stuff.
Yeah. I loved what you said about how you look at people and you watch them and how their eyes light up when they talk about something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you could see when they were talking to you about something that wasn't actually going to come true. How did you? I know you said that it's just like a gift, but how did you know that that was going to work on Survivor?
Survivor is a game about social relationships, right? It's a social experiment. And it's a game about being in a very stressful situation with people you don't know,
Yeah.
you know? And in my head, I always want to have fun. Fun is my number one objective in life. And I can only have fun if people are having fun around me, you know? So I knew I was gonna do that in the game because this is what I do. Like even when we were sitting down in Ponderosa and I couldn't interact with people, I was going crazy. Like I would interact with the people serving the French fries because I needed that energy. So this is what I do. And as soon as we could talk, I was like, boom, done.
Is there anything about your game that you feel like didn't come across to the people that were watching on television?
Can you repeat that question?
Is there anything about your game that you felt like didn't come across to the people that were watching the show every week?
I think I'm lucky enough, like super lucky, like weirdly lucky, that a lot of the stuff my intentions and stuff, like were shown. You
Yeah.
know, like the conversations that I had with the people that were going home were shown. The conversations that I had when I was questioning what was going on. I think I was very lucky as a winner to be portrayed in a way that it happened. I have no regrets, you know,
Yeah.
but
You're a great narrator. You gave them a lot to work with so that your story was one that was like not difficult for them to tell.
and they would tell me that sometimes, you know, but I was like, oh great, whatever, great talking, and that's it. Um I love to talk, Rob.
I get it. I get it. And you know, your gifts, I think also, I'm sure you had a great relationship with the producer who was doing your interview. And honestly, like when you have a great social game like yours, it comes through to the viewer that they feel like that they're getting from you what the people on the island give. And that's why, you know, some of the people who are people's favorite players like are that because the audience feels like that they are connecting with you too.
Somebody came to my salon yesterday. I was picking up something. It was closed, but I was picking up something, and they come by and they go like, "I feel like I know you. Are you like that?" I was like, "Yes, I am. This is exactly who I am." Like
Mm-hmm.
people would ask my friends, "Is he like that?" I was like, "Yeah, he's like that." Even when I was mad and I was telling Carolyn stuff about, "Girl, you're not a threat. Like just
Mm-hmm.
listen to me," and she would get mad at me because of
Yeah.
that. That's who I am too. Like I have no issues of telling you what I'm thinking, and this is maybe the stuff that wasn't shown, and something that I think was so important. And I told Jeff about it was like the fact that you know how there's like 100 plans, right, in the game, like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F. Everybody has a plan. My game was about telling everybody else what was going on. Like when Danny comes to me and he wants to take Brandon out with his idol, I don't tell Brandon, Danny has an idol, he wants to take you out. But before Danny goes to him and tells him Jam Jam wants you out, I go straight to Brandon and I go, Danny's talking about taking you out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know people are gonna flip the story against me in every single scenario. So I would like when Heidi voted for Danny, the first person that told Danny Heidi voted for you was me. And then 10 minutes later, I see Carson telling him the thing because Carson was doing similar stuff. But I would always be a step in front of like, if this conversation is gonna be told and go through the grapevine, I need to be the first person diffusing the story.
Yeah. That's really important. I don't think I've ever heard a Survivor player say exactly like that. So that's a really good takeaway from your game.
Ding! Where's the
Ding.
bell?
Jam Jam. What do you do next after Survivor?
What do you mean? Like for real or for
For
like dreams?
real. For real. I
Well,
mean,
I need to work,
yeah, you need to
People
work.
think
Do you have a another dream after Survivor?
I used to go on dates and people would tell me, "What's your dream?" This could go in another direction, but we're not doing
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But I used to go on dates and people would tell me, "What's your dream?" And I would say like, "This is gonna be crazy," but like a dream is a dream, right? So my number one dream is to play Survivor, and I would have to explain people what Survivor is, blah blah blah. So when I come back, I go like, I won. Nobody knows what now. Um, I have this newfound energy that I could do anything, which is very, very, very weird to have because I always
Hmm.
been told by my family and my husband and my friends that you can do anything you want, but to actually do it, it's weird. So my first objective right now is to be well here, to feel healthy, because it is a crazy experience. It's so amazing that when it's not there, you miss it. So my number one thing right now is to enjoy my summer with my husband, go do Pride. I'm the first gay open person of color to win Survivor. Like, be out there, be supportive, do all
Yeah.
charities that help people like me, and to do the most good I can do with what I got. And then figure it out like my business. Like, I have a hair salon in Puerto Rico. My husband has a clothing line, like grow those businesses, travel. I've been to 57 countries in the world. I want to keep traveling. Number 57 was Fiji. Um, keep living life. I've always had a fun life. I don't like being boring.
Hmm.
I like sleeping. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But sleeping is not boring because you're sleeping. So just be I've learned so much about Jamie with the meditation. Like, it's very powerful. I'm like a ball of energy and ideas right now.
Yeah.
So I just need to find myself and just be the best that I can. And if I ever get the privilege again to play, then that can come later. If I get to experience the fans and share the love at these charity events too, like, I'm just really happy with what happened,
Yeah.
and I just want to remember it like that. So
Enjoy it. This is a very special time, and that's you did this incredible thing, and I hope that you get as much joy out of the post game as you brought the people watching you do it, Jam Jam.
thank you, Rob. I mean, it's crazy. I know not everybody had the same experience as me. Not even like some winners have the same
Sure.
story or edit or outcome, but I think we're all so amazing. And I invite everybody that watched the podcast. If you ever have an opportunity to go on an event and meet people, go meet them in person, because who you see on the screen, maybe to me it's very honest because this is just who I am. But some of the people are so amazing, but you have to go meet them in person for you to understand it.
Yeah. Well, Jam Jam, this was amazing. I am looking forward to another time when we can talk even more about your survivor adventures and the adventures of future survivors and get to hear what you have to say about all of that. So, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Do you have anything that you want people to check out that you're doing?
Well, you can always like follow me on Instagram at Jamil PR, YAMILPR. I put a lot of my stuff out there, and I have a webpage called jamjampr.com where I have all my stuff that you can get. That's done by my husband. It's my husband's business. Um,
Get a
if you
cameo from Jam Jam.
get a cameo from me. Oh my god, yeah. I have 41 reviews. 40 of them are 5 stars, and I have
Hmm.
1 star review.
Yeah. All right.
I'm so
Well,
sorry, whoever gave me that 1 star. I promise I do better.
mm-hmm. Just look, get a do over. Come on, he'll
I
do
have
better
there's
next
a redo
time.
button, but I saw that
Yeah.
yesterday night. Also, if you like want to support Carson's business, he's 3D printing myself.
What is that?
That's
What
a
is
3D
that?
printer jam
A
jam.
3D printer of I didn't know he's doing that. Boy,
No, he didn't do this, but I'm gonna make him do it for me. It's amazing. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want a 3D printed Jam Jam?
Yes. Okay. Incredible. All right, Jam Jam, thank you so much. I appreciate this time. I appreciate you, and looking forward to chatting more in the future. Thanks everybody so much for listening. Make sure you're subscribed. robhaswebsite.com/subscribe. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.